I genuinely can't believe that I'm able to sit here and say this after we've literally just been gifted with a Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 trailer, but Gege Akutami's new weekly manga titled Mojuro has officially been confirmed as a Jujutsu Kaisen sequel. And wow, it has really changed the way that I view the end of the original Jujutsu Kaisen manga, because it seems like all of those loose plot points are finally being tied up. Not only that, but it turns out that Gege was already foreshadowing this sequel series in the Jujutsu Kaisen manga as far back as Gojo vs Sukuna, which is genuinely insane. So this new release has actually been stated by Gege Akutami himself to be a JJK sequel, but in true Jujutsu Kaisen fashion, leaks for the first chapter have also started spreading their way around the internet like wildfire. As a true Jujutsu Kaisen coper who never truly gave up on the possibility of a sequel, I feel so vindicated right now, and I know a load of you guys do too. I cannot believe that we are actually getting one, especially after we were all clowned for saying it for so long. I mean, yeah, congratulations to all believers and copers. It may have taken some time, but it all paid off in the end. And yes, I already know there are going to be a bajillion comments from haters saying how Gege should put the fries in the bag and that it's gonna suck, but I honestly do not care. If you do not think it will be any good, then don't read it. Simple as that. But don't be salty just because you see other people actually enjoying something. Anyway, before I start info dumping absolutely everything we know about this sequel on you and what it means for Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole, I want to clarify very firmly that I will be discussing some basic spoilers for the first chapter in order to help explain what this new manga will be about. This video is not a deep dive chapter review because currently the translations are horrible, and I want to wait for the real thing but before like doing a proper review, because I don't want to start that whole cycle of JJK, bad translation, misinformation again, okay? I'm not trying to egg on the TikTok readers here. So we're going to keep things very basic, but I do have a good picture of what's going on. So I'm going to summarize the events in order to paint a picture of what we can expect in the future of this 3-volume miniseries that Gege is writing. If all you wanted to know is that Jujutsu Kaisen is in fact getting a sequel manga, then you can leave the video now, because from this point onwards we will be discussing spoilers for it. You have been warned. So as always, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the membership options, and let's just get straight into it. I'm gonna warn you now, okay? I'm an itchy, like excited, hyperactive ADHD fanboy right now. You remember how I was back in prime JJK chapters coming out. Oh my god, we're so back. I actually cannot believe we're getting season 3 and JJK part 2. It's so surreal. But yeah, I'm going all the way. I'm going back to my roots. We're doing the full, like, theories, crazy crackpot theories, over analysis, the whole shebang, alright? So from looking at this chapter in my own time, I've realized that the best part about it is that it seems to be directly addressing the main issue that I had with Jujutsu Kaisen's ending, and actually turning all of the unfinished plot points into something, well, relevant. The main plot points that this new manga seems like it will be covering include the following. But again, I'm using the word seems because we don't know for sure. There is some things we do know. The rest of it is like theory/speculation, alright? We are seeing what happened after the events of JJK when the USA and the rest of the world became aware of cursed energy and how it can be used as a source of sustainable energy. We see in this first chapter that there has been a bit of a crisis in Japan over the last few decades because Japanese citizens, mostly children, are being abducted and used in order to get control over the power source that is cursed energy. Which is great because Gege started that whole like the world knows about cursed energy and the USA is invading the Culling Games kind of thing, and it just got completely dropped. It seems that is going to be a massive part of this actual series, which is so great. It also seems like we might get a bit of stuff about the future of the big 3 clans post JJK, and potentially even things to do with the new Shadow School. That's just speculation from me, but it would make a lot of sense because it would explain why Gege decided to dedicate a whole chapter at the end of JJK to explaining that stuff. And strangely, a sorcerer called Usami was also spoken about a lot in this chapter, which again demonstrates how Gege was probably setting this up for quite a while, since Usami got randomly name-dropped as a grade 1 sorcerer in chapter 254. Now, this person called Usami in the new manga is likely just a relative of Usami in the original series. Now, this is pretty much just speculation from me, but it does seem as though we might be going deep into the lore of how cursed energy came to be, and potentially the origins of Tengen and Kenjaku, who seem more and more like they were genuinely aliens that came to Earth 1,000 years ago, Kaguya style. Because in the very first page of this new manga, we do literally just see aliens. Yeah, aliens. Proper aliens, like proper weird Vaster Lourdes Ichigo and blob-looking aliens. They're aliens. They arrive in a spaceship in the year 2086 in search of protection because they are refugees or something like that. One of these aliens, Maru, looks a lot like Sukuna, but the other alien of the ship is literally Tengen, like they are identical. Obviously different people, but they are exactly the same. And we know that these aliens have cursed energy and cursed techniques just like the people of Japan. So the fact that these aliens seem to be refugees in search of protection means they're probably running from some otherworldly threat. Given the very strange and mysterious nature of Kenjaku and Tengen, it really would not surprise me if they were both aliens who came to Earth and introduced cursed energy in Japan for some yet-to-be-explained reason. There is also a lot of theory crafting and speculation that Sukuna was part alien because of his deformed appearance, and the fact that he looks a lot like Maru. I mean, Maru does look like Yuji Kuna, despite the different art style. He has the same face markings, and even has an extra eye placed exactly where Sukuna's forehead tattoos were. There is even someone legitimately foreshadowing for Jujutsu Kaisen having aliens, and potentially for Sukuna himself being part alien, because right after Sukuna summons Maharaga and Agito, Gojo literally says that he looks like a lost alien. Bar for bar, that is what he said. In fact, it would not surprise me if we learned that Maharaga is also an alien himself because of the fact that we are following Maki Zenin's lineage in this new story. And I think this further supports my theory that Sukuna was actually the child of either Tengen or Kenjaku. Now, I could be wrong about this, but I believe the alien called Maru also mentions having a twin brother. That, however, is not confirmed. That is, again, dodgy translations, alright? So please, there is no one who should be taking that for granted. If, for instance, Maru does have a twin, then, like, you know, twins can be a genetic thing. So if Kenjaku is Maru's twin, and then Kenjaku went on to have twins, but one of them ate the other in the womb, then bada bing bada boom, you're left with Ryomen Sukuna, the all-time Jujutsu genius born from Kenjaku's alien supremacy. Okay, yeah, that sounds completely deranged and crazy, but it also kind of makes sense at the same time. I don't know, I just want to be very clear that this is me, like, crazily theory crafting here. This is not stuff from the chapter at all. For all we know, the third eye on Maru's forehead is the equivalent of the mouth on Kenjaku's brain, and everybody of that species can body swap in some kind of way. Or maybe it is just Kenjaku's natural curse technique. Yeah, okay, no, I fully realize that I am slipping back into my old ways of getting carried away by crackpot theories, but I need you to understand that I genuinely love Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, I'm so passionate about this. So even if it makes the video a bit messy and kind of, you know, well, whatever it is now, it just makes me very happy to be able to sit here and talk about the series like this again. It's so nice. I'm sure you guys missed it too though, so I don't really plan on stopping anytime soon. That does pretty much do it for the Jujutsu Kaisen plot points that we seem to be continuing in this new series though, so I'll now move on to giving a very brief rundown of the first chapter and what it is chosen to focus on, including the main characters. Alrighty then, so this story is set in the year 2086, which makes it more or less 68 years later. The duo of main characters that we are following in this story were also something Gege foreshadowed in his epilogue chapters, because they are the grandson and granddaughter of Yuta Okkotsu and Maki Zenin, who have finally been confirmed as a canon couple in Jujutsu Kaisen. Unfortunately though, Maki and Yuta are both dead now, having died of old age by the time that their grandchildren reach their teenage years. However, we do get to see them as an old couple in flashbacks, which are there for the purpose of setting up what I suspect to be the main character's motivations. I find it very strange that the heavenly restriction enhanced Maki actually died before Yuta, but I guess it does fit Yuta's character quite nicely when you really think about it, you know? Now, these two are the only two who we see from original Jujutsu Kaisen, but there is a nice moment later on when Yuji and Gojo are name-dropped as the heroic sorcerers that put an end to Sukuna's rampage. The general plot also seems pretty simple so far. Tsurugi, Yuta's grandson, seems to have a heavenly restriction, while his sister, Yuka, has cursed energy and I think a cursed technique too, but the details on that are currently rusty. Yuta basically gives his ring to Yuka as a kid and said it would protect her until she becomes a strong sorcerer. And this is likely because both Maki and Yuta know how strong a heavenly restriction can be on its own, but again, that's just speculation from me. After my goats die a happy death surrounded by people, the Gojo clan and some other mysterious woman, who I suspect is Yuta and Maki's daughter, tells Yuka that she must give the ring to her brother for some unknown reason. They say it's a cursed object registered to the Gojo clan vault, meaning they technically have ownership of it and demand Tsurugi have it, blah blah blah, whatever. The idea though is that I think Yuka wants to become strong enough to take the ring back because Yuta gave it to her, and Tsurugi wants to become strong enough to prove that he doesn't need the ring to protect him. That's how I've interpreted this, but again, we're gonna have to wait and see like how it pans out. It seems like they both want the opposite of the other, but the Gojo clan and their parents intervened and made it this way for some reason. But it does seem as if the ring is very much functional, like I'm expecting Rika to suddenly come out and protect one of them from something dangerous later on. Some years later, when they are 17 and 16 years old respectively, they become Jujutsu sorcerers and go on missions, and they're meant to be equal in strength according to their teacher, who is none other than Usami-sensei. The mission is to rescue a kid who was abducted because of the growing threat of Japanese people being taken and used as an energy source. They fetch a high price, and kids are easy to target, so there are a lot of shady curse users catching and selling them for money. It's a pretty simple premise so far, right? Well, it definitely gets a lot stranger when we see that a literal spaceship carrying Maru, Tengen's clone, Vasto Ichigo, and 50,000 alien refugees has arrived over Nevada, Area 51, in search of a place to stay. No, it's not actually Tengen's clone, I just said that because it was funny. Don't start, looking into that too much, right? God, JJK fans, I just need to explain everything out to you like you're toddlers. Anyway, they initially thought that the US were the most powerful nation on Earth, but with them being, cursed energy aliens and all, they were pointed in the direction of Japan because of all the sorcery stuff. The aliens soon figure out why they were pointed towards Japan in order to discuss diplomatic BS, and it's because sorcerers with cursed techniques live there. And of course the aliens then confirm that they also have cursed energy and cursed techniques, because duh. So Maru gets sent down and pretends to be a foreign sorcerer while he joins the main character's siblings on their mission. And that is the absolute bare bones basic of this first chapter. There is definitely way more to it than that, but translations are currently terrible, so I'm taking the choice to withhold all of the additional information I've read until we have the final product, because there was definitely enough misinformation being spread when JJK was getting leaked weekly, and I do not want to enable that for this series. I can already see people complaining that my earlier speculations are also misinformation because they can't comprehend the concept of a theory, but that's their problem. As for the specifics of this chapter though, we are just gonna have to wait for officials and then see how it goes. Overall, I am genuinely so excited and so unbelievably happy because getting a JJK Season 3 trailer and January release date was already good enough, but this paired with a literal Part 2 for JJK's manga is actually surreal. I'm waiting to wake up from this too good to be true fever dream. I guess it makes sense though, we really should have seen this coming because Gege gets a new manga announced, no one thinks it's really gonna be JJK, and then a few days later we suddenly get a trailer for Season 3, so that Season 3 and Gege's new manga are gonna be releasing side by side. I don't know how we didn't put that together the other day, but yeah, it was right in front of us. Just like in old times, you'll be getting plenty of Jujutsu Kaisen content from me, regardless of how good any of this new material shapes out to be, because I genuinely just love the world of Jujutsu Kaisen and want to make the most of what we are being given. The fact that a lot of JJK plotlines are finally being tied up and made into something completely new, with the potential for so much new JJK lore, also just makes me so much more positive about JJK's ending. Sure, it's still not perfect, because Gege's health understandably wasn't great, and we didn't see crucial events like Hikari vs Rame, sure, that was a bummer, but in terms of what Gege did show us, specifically the stuff involving Yuji and Sukuna's conclusion, I always did think it was great and very underrated. The main issue I had was that all of these setup plot points were abandoned, but if it turns out that they weren't abandoned and will be a crucial part of the sequel, then this issue is pretty much resolved for me. Genuinely, if this manga is even half decent, it makes the original material so much better for me. And I say for me because I know the insecure haters will immediately try and argue with this. Look, it's my opinion. I'm not trying to force you to think anything, you can think what you want. If you want to hate, then be my guest. It's literally just how I feel about it. There's no amount of commenting that will get me to change my natural feelings towards this, you know? If I like something, it's because I like it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with liking something. Even if it was the worst manga on earth, there's still nothing wrong with liking it. You don't need to go and attack people just because they like something different to you. Anyway, the point is, guys, alright, we are so back. We are so back. So yeah, as always, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I most definitely will see you in a bit.